But I do a lot of work with my past clients and my sphere. And probably the number one thing that people ask me to share is what my touches or like my schedule of sharing things with my past clients looks like. So I put that together for you guys today, and I'm going to share my screen here so that you guys can see that. If I can just get it to go to the right screen. Oh, it didn't go to the right screen. Okay, it did go to the right screen. All right, so this is really what I'm looking at doing in 2025. So, and this is kind of what I'm doing now. So I am doing emails and mail. I do biweekly newsletters that I email to my database. I know most of you guys already do that. I'm doing quarterly mailers that I'm emailing to my past clients and my database with like a market update and just getting in their mailbox once a quarter. And then I'm doing a home anniversary CMA, and I know that's not anything earth shattering. A lot of you guys are doing that too. Where I think that what I'm doing is a little bit different potentially is I'm doing a lot of gifting. So that's where I'm really spending the bulk of my dollars is gifting to my past clients and my sphere of influence. So I'm doing birthday gifts, and I can show you guys too when I stop sharing my screen, the little box that I made, but we made custom boxes that are branded to our business. I partnered with a local baker, and they're putting cookies in there. And we're shipping off gourmet cookies for everyone's birthday. That's in all my past clients and my database, my sphere of influence. That's costing me about $20 a box for the actual cookies, about $5 for the box, and then shipping is about $10. So it's about $35 a person. Right now I have about 150 people on my schedule that are getting birthday cookies. For the holidays, we're doing full-size nothing but cakes. We deliver those to all of our past clients. And I personally deliver them, drive to their houses. We do probably about 100 cakes that I deliver over a series of 4 days. And then we're doing Lolo gifts. I don't know if you guys have heard of Lolo gifts, but it's a super easy local gift that they get once a month that sends a text to their phone. So it's like, go to this local bakery and redeem this for a cookie or a donut or a smoothie, whatever it is that month. And it's super cheap. It's only, I think, $1.99 a person that you put on it. So I'm doing that for all of my past clients and sphere of influence. They're getting texts from me every month with a gift that they can redeem. And then I'm also doing Client Giant. The way I do my Client Giant is I use that. So if I send a CMA to someone and they tell me, thanks so much for this, like, we're not looking to sell right now, but we're going to be looking to sell in the next year or something like that, where it's like far away and I know I need to nurture them. And I might not be the best about getting on the phone and calling them every month or whatever. So I'll sign them up for a top of mind Client Giant where they're starting to get the gifting once a quarter. And I find that that's a really good use of that program. That program is really expensive because I think it's $99 a person. But $100 to nurture someone that I know is looking to buy or sell in the next 12 to 24 months, I think is totally worth it. So that's how I use my Client Giant to kind of supplement with my nurturing. So I used to do a lot of pop buys, like physically dropping off things to people's houses. These things have replaced that, and I don't have to, do the pop buys anymore, which I shouldn't say have to. Some people really enjoy them. I got away from them during COVID because we couldn't really go to people's houses. So that's when I kind of started leaning more to like, what can I send them, ship them, that type of thing. So that's my gifting schedule. I'm also doing client events, at least one a quarter. So we're going to do a cooking class in the spring. We're going to do a spring training event. We're going to do a movie event in the summer because we're in Phoenix, and obviously it's super hot here in the summer, so we can't be outside. And then we do pictures in the park in the fall. A lot of these are repeat events that I've done before, so they're really easy to just kind of plug in and redo them. But my clients really love those. Sometimes I'll do like a pop-up, like happy hour or something like that with a smaller group, but these are ones where I'm sending out an invitation to everyone that's in my past client and sphere of influence. And then I make all of my calls around either the events, invitations to the events, sending them their CMAs or their birthdays. So it takes a lot of pressure off of the like just checking in, seeing how it's going. Like I'm always offering a service to them. And so, like I said, all of my business is sphere of influence and past clients. So this is pretty much everything that I am doing. I'm just checking the chat here. What is spring training? So in Arizona, all of the baseball teams come here for spring training. So we have all like tons of different baseball, like I guess there's stadiums and games going on. You can buy like bulk tickets and it's cheap. So yeah, Florida has it too. Yes. So Arizona and Florida are the two places with spring training. So you could replace that with like any sporting event. How do I organize this as to what to do when? So most of my stuff is automated. So like with my birthdays, I have a spreadsheet with all my clients' birthdays on it, and I give that to the baker and she sends it out to make sure that it hits at that date. So I don't want to have to think about it. So that's the way I do that. For my events and like my holiday cakes, we do the same ones over and over again. So I pretty much just save like everything that I did, and then I can just do it again. Makes it really simple. I do have an assistant in my office with me. So I think that that helps because she works on my newsletters every week. She knows that that's her responsibility to get it together. I just proof it. She designs my mailers. She actually does a lot of the work on my CMAs. She puts together the CMAs and pulls like the Zillow Zestimate and puts all of that together for me and sends it to me. And then I just tweak it and send it out in the morning. So I think that that's really helpful, but a lot of the things that she's doing, you could obviously hire a VA to do really easily. We use Trello to kind of stay on top of all the different tasks that are involved with each thing. And we just meet and talk about them like every day. And it's really not that hard. So the content messaging of mailers and newsletters. Our newsletters, some of you might get our newsletters because especially if you signed up for this, because you'll usually get on my list. But our newsletters are basically we'll highlight a deal of the week. So obviously in Tom Ferry, they talk a lot about a deal of the week. We'll do a deal of the week. We will do like some local thing that's happening. Maybe it's pumpkin patches. I think she just did recipes for Thanksgiving on our last one. What else will we do? Like a market update. So I always write the market update, just like what's happening in the market and then the local thing. And then we don't put a ton of content. We usually do like 3 blocks, maybe 4 blocks of messaging in the newsletters, because to me, it's really just about like being in their mailbox. A lot of people might find 1 or 2 things in there that are interesting to them, but it's just them seeing your name over and over again. Obviously, you guys all probably know that. So that's pretty much it for how I kind of work things. That's the number one thing I get asked. I know, Jennifer, you asked me for it last year. So I was like, okay, I'll just put that together and put it out. And then the other thing that I wanted to share with you guys was when you're doing your business planning, obviously we look at our ROI on all of the things that we're doing, right? What are we getting for our online leads, and what are we getting for all the money we're spending on our events or whatever? The one thing that I challenge you all to look at, because it took me 2 years to kind of really look at it and do the math, is what are you getting back from your brokerage? And this is not a plug for any specific brokerage, but there are so many brokerages out there right now that are giving you so many perks and benefits that I think it's also a really good time to evaluate what you're paying in broker fees and what you're getting back. So last year I made the move to change brokerages, and my business increased, my GCI increased $136,000 over the prior year. And I think about 60,000 of that was just in brokerage earnings that I would not have had otherwise. So that's a game changer in my business. It allows me to, I just opened up a new office, and, really allows me to spend more money on the things that I can invest in to draw in more business. So I think that everyone should really be looking at that. I never had anyone share numbers with me, so I did prepare numbers. And if you would like to see like what I pay in fees, what I'm getting back in stock benefits, and how that breaks out, I'm happy to show that with you. I'm very transparent, so I will be happy to show you exactly how that played out for me personally in my business. But I think that everyone should kind of be looking at what you're paying in fees and what you're getting back, because I wish that I made that change earlier. It has, like I said, I made 36% more income in 2024 than I did in 2023. And I attribute that 100% to the change I made in my brokerage. So definitely make sure that you're looking at those numbers as well when you're evaluating your business. The next person I want to hand it over to is Caroline. So if you guys don't know Caroline, she is an amazing broker out of Northern California. And her deal is like, she's all tech. She knows everything technology. So she has figured out how to take our business plans that we're putting together and use Chat GPT to turn them into action plans. So I'm going to hand it over to her, and then she can go ahead and go through that with you guys.
Hey there. Thank you for the introduction, Karina. Okay, so I put together a little thing for you guys. And basically, I switched coaches this year, and my coach, she beats to the, or she, how's that saying go? She walks to the beat of her own drum, something like that. Okay, so she does things a little differently. So some of it might look like Tom Ferry stuff. Some of it's a little bit different. The idea of it is basically starting with a solid infrastructure of comparing last year and kind of looking into where you're going to lean into your business this year, as far as somebody in the chat asked about messaging and whatnot on your mailers and on your newsletters. So that's what we're going to take a look at, is how we can use Chat GPT to create an annual plan to break down what you should be sending out, when you should be sending it out, and to give you an outline for what needs to be done each day. At the end of this, if you really take what I've given you and expand on it, if you have marketing team or an assistant or anything like that helping you out in your business, it'll be really easy to just kind of hand this over to them and allow them to execute on it. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the presentation and share my screen. I apologize in advance. I have very messy screen. Okay. So first is just kind of like breaking it down with your goal setting, developing a budget, then coming up with the actual annual, monthly, and weekly plans, and then implementing it into your database or into your email platform to automate the sending. So as you add people to the database, they're starting to get these mailers. The difference is these are like date-based emails versus campaigns that you might have for different client types that come into your database. That's more campaign based, which means that it starts from email 1 and works its way through as soon as they come into the database. These are more like, in January, we're going to send this. In February, we're going to send this. Make sense? Okay, so this is a really poor and dumbed down version of the tracker that my coach used. I've gone ahead and linked it here. My link works. Looks like this one's broken, so I'll need to adjust that one. It looks like this. So it's basically just taking a look, putting down all of your sources of business, what you did in 2024 and what you did in 2025. I encourage you to add any kind of new lead pillars that you're going to be using in your business to the tracker, and then estimating what your expectations are for your return on investment for those. So if you're going to get 3 buyers from, doing a new social media campaign, or you want to add 6 listings, and you're going to spend $500 a month on farming. So list that here. The next part is where you record the financial information about that. Is this going to be a monthly expense or an annual expense? And again, based on the numbers that you put in the previous screen. So let's say that you estimated 6 new listing leads, or 6 new listings from some mailers that you were doing. How much did you spend on those mailers? Are you doing that every month? are you doing that for the entire year? So just kind of really taking a look at what goes on right there. There's also a tech stack screen right here. As Karina mentioned, I'm very into technology and systems. So for me, I will sign up for a platform to try it out because I'll see somebody talking about something new and then I will forget that I subscribed. I think that it's really easy to kind of get caught up in that, especially when you're looking at new ways to automate your business or capture clients or, you know, streamline the process in some way and increase your client's experience. And then lastly is just kind of a team review. So the people in your organization, what are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Do you have salespeople on your team that didn't make any sales? I mean, that's not a long-term thing that is salvageable. And you want to make sure that you're investing your time and energy into people that are going to give you the highest return on investment. Okay. Next is back to my Canvas screen. So taking a look at that tracker, it's a really easy way to kind of outline what you're trying to do. Same thing with the budgeting page. So this is where I like to pull in the Chat GPT. So I kind of have a 4-step process that I've outlined here. Starting with an annual calendar to mark down any plans that you'd like to execute throughout the year. So Karina is so great with all of her gifting and everything. What I would encourage you to do is if you want to send something out in February, you put a reminder on the calendar and you set a date in January to start planning on that to execute. Outline, add appointments into your calendar or add it into like a task reminder system, what you want to do. So that way you have plenty of time for planning. I think that most realtors have really, really great intentions on executing and gifting and, you know, trying to provide the highest level of service, but a lot of times something will get missed or fall short and it causes like a lot of strain in the transaction or a lot of strain on the realtor when they're trying to implement these gifting platforms. So just kind of mapping out your year initially to take a look at how you can automate that. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. This is what I mean by that is I mean that if you're going to send out a mailer, mark it on your calendar. If the mailer, you want it to hit mailboxes on the 16th, then that means you need to have it, you know, designed and ready to go out maybe on the 9th or on the 10th. So just putting those dates into your calendar ahead of time so to make sure that you can hit the deadline, so to speak. And the next part is from your annual calendar, break it down month by month and prepare any SOPs to be used for lead funnels. So some of the things that I did for this, so creating an annual marketing strategy, which uses different themes in real estate marketing. This is the prompt that I used right here for the annual planning. And let me show you what it looks like. So it came up with a mailer idea for me because I specified I want to send out a mailer, I want to send out an email. Those are the two things that I was focusing on with this prompt. You can add in other streams. So I have done social and things like that. The reason why I like to separate it out is I find that when you give it too much of a workload, it starts to be less distinguished between the different emails and the content that comes out. So by breaking it down in a month and kind of expanding upon ideas and themes that they are coming up with, I find that really helpful. So for example, I used November as an example, which you'll see on the next page. So that one is thankful for homeownership. So where we went is using the theme of thankful for home ownership. Develop 4 creative emails to be sent to prospective home buyers and sellers. Expand upon gratitude for the benefits of home ownership. How we build community through home ownership. Benefits of gathering at home. And these are just these 4 categories are from the annual planning theme that they created. And then I kind of just thought of ways of how we can tie that into the time of the year and ask them to expand upon these ideas. So benefits of gathering at home during the holidays and tips for preparing your home for the winter months ahead. Emphasize my local expertise and personalized support that I offer. Keep the tone professional, supportive, and entertaining. So using this, it created a November campaign. So the first is celebrating the joys of home ownership. And it really just talks about, owning a home isn't just about the property, it's about building a life and a legacy. So it leans into their emotions during this time of year, but also outlines the benefits of what you do. Building community through homeownership. It talks about how homeowners are kind of like the building blocks of your community. Best holiday gatherings start at home, just talking about, again, what it feels like eating in your own home during the holidays, celebrating in your own space. And then some tips. In addition to this, again, I want to emphasize with Chat GPT, it's all about tweaking and like making small changes to see what you want to do. In my personal plan, I included SOPs. So it added in SOPs to my emails that I can include to help with gauging engagement and understanding where they're at in the process, if they're actually starting to look or thinking about starting the selling process. So constantly going back and talk to Chat GPT, kind of like it is a bot, but talk to it like a bot or like a human. Tell it exactly what you want and be super specific about it. And that will really help with breaking it down. And then lastly, how many of you have gone to these conferences and come out saying, okay, I need to be better on social. I'm going to start making those videos. I'm going to start making those postings. I want to be that kind of person, but a lot of times my lack of planning for social gets in the way of that. And so taking a look at this, what we did is we created a 30-day social media content plan using the prompt in the pamphlet that I have. And essentially what it did was it kind of created a cadence for the week of things that I can be posting. This allows me to plan for the month ahead. So if I know that on Fridays, there's going to be a personal or team feature, the first week of the month, I can put together 4 of those and schedule them out for the next 4 Thursdays. A testimonial or success story. This can also be like a how we did it kind of video as well. So again, just taking a look at those. This can be reading the testimony on video and like reflecting on that process with your client. It could be a actual review off Google and just, posting a picture of that review with some design on it. Market trends and advice. This I prefer as a video. I really like these as like a live. I think those are it can be really impactful because it allows people, especially if they know about it ahead of time, to tune in to find out the information and kind of go back and forth with you and ask questions. Karen Stone sent out an amazing email. I will actually add the email into the link in the Canva that I did yesterday. But essentially, she broke down a Chat GPT process for analyzing marketing trends that we're seeing in the marketplace by simply just downloading data from your local MLS. So like closed sales, exporting it as a CSV, and then uploading it into Chat GPT. So I will also share those prompts with you. Using something like that would make a market trend or a market update really, really easy to execute on. Personally, there's several cities in my marketplace, and they're all very different as far as price range and everything goes, and they're different clients. So for me, each week it's a different market, and I analyze it for the market as a whole.
Caroline,
Uh,
you have a couple, I'm sorry to interrupt you have a couple of questions in the chat.
oh, perfect.
So just wanted to let you know that. So what do you mean by creating SOPs for lead funnels? And do you subscribe to Chat GPT or pay for any other specific app?
Yes, I do pay for ChatGPT 4, which is like their latest version. Um, I find it really helpful that they keep a catalog of all of my questions and things like that. And it also just it gives me better results than regular Chat GPT. What do I mean by creating SOPs for lead funnels? Great question. So what I mean by this is, let me go ahead and share. For example, Um, this is my own business planning. You can see I put every month throughout the year. It's just a folder in Google Drive that I've shared with my coach. I created an SOP for the different types of clients that I work with. So sphere, buyer, sellers right here. And then basically we're going through each month and expanding upon that and upon the monthly themes that were created in those SOPs. So for the month of February, open this up. Some of these emails talk about a home selling checklist. And so I created a couple different assets using ChatGPT to come up with something that they can download. Now, does it have to be multiple different things? No, it does not. I just find that when it looks a little bit different, it might engage a different audience type. I am really big about diversity in my different marketing pieces. I find that I send like 3 different kinds of mailers out to the same neighborhood every month. And I feel that it just further reinforces like my branding and creativeness as far as marketing goes. Does that make sense? And the purpose of these checklists and things like that, again, are just to kind of gauge readiness to transact. I know that if they're downloading a guide from one of my emails, that they are actually looking into the process. Our emails are really supposed to capture their attention and get them to open it. So being creative with your subject lines and things like that can also help with engagement.
Awesome.
And that's everything I have for you guys today. So I don't know. I always try to give actionable insights and give you guys something to work off of. And so I hope that you guys are able to use these to help you plan out your year and be a little bit more productive.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Any questions for Caroline before we move over to Lizzie? I think you have a question in the chat from Jackie.
Would love to know your SOPs for the first 12 months you close with a client. Do you do anything different in the general database? This would be, again, more of a scheduling thing for me. So whether it's a follow-up call or a check-in, sending them their year-end, the closing statement at the end of the year so that they have that ready for their taxes. Those are kind of little touch points that we have. We also Karina and I are both with Real. So another piece that they just introduced into our technology is Leo is like our AI backend, but they did just release a really cool feature that I plan to put all of my past clients on. And it's essentially a phone number that texts your client and reminds them about different home maintenance items throughout the year and helps them schedule those home maintenance items. So that way, if they need Christmas lights to go up, Leo will literally schedule a Christmas light person to come to their house. So just one more way that we can be that person. I think also reminding them about different things that need to happen throughout the year. I'm not sure who it was. I wish I did. I wish I remembered, but oh, I think it was Karen, actually. She goes out and drops off hose bib covers to, no, not you. Okay. Someone I met recently, they drop off hose bib covers because they live in an area that snows and the pipes can freeze and burst. And so she buys these in bulk and then goes over to her client's house that purchased a home this year and is like, hey, do you have your home bibs or do you have your bibs covered? If not, I've got extras. I'm going to come drop some off for you. So, little kind of things that people might not know about. I know in our area, we're known for the tarantulas that come out, and we have a lot of bugs because we live in a valley and there's a lot of farmland and whatnot. So everyone sprays for bugs. It's just a normal thing. You pay an extra couple $100 a quarter and you get monthly sprays done to keep the bugs away. So little things like that, giving them those tips and tidbits. I think that receiving all of these things right when you close escrow can be really intimidating for a lot of people. There's a lot of things to remember. It's a stressful time. So kind of spacing out these little pieces of information throughout the year can be really helpful, as well as like community events. Of course, you're going to see community events pop up throughout the year. I know our city has 3 or 4 big things that they do every single year. So just scheduling an email out that month before to your past clients. Hey, 4th of July is coming up. We have Freedom Fest in Morgan Hill, which is a really huge event for the community. I encourage you to take a look. Here's the website where they typically post updates. I hope to see you there. So things like that.
Good stuff. Well, let's jump over to Lizzie so she can get started on the Word of the Year workshop for us. I'm super excited to pick my word. I've been waiting for this workshop to do it. So if you don't know Lizzie, I brought her into a couple of our masterminds. She is a lender here in Phoenix. She's with Cross Country Mortgage, but she's not just a lender. She's like a coach and a mentor for so many agents here in the Valley. She's one of the top lenders in Arizona. And I don't know if she still is, but for a long time, she was the #1 female lender in the country. So she is a powerhouse, super amazing wealth of knowledge. And so I'll hand it over to Lizzie to take it on with the Word of the Year.
Thank you, Karina. That was a really wonderful introduction. I'm excited to talk to you guys today. So Karina briefly touched on it, but for a couple of years between 2018 and 2020, I was the top female unit producer for the country in home loans. I was a top 10 loan officer for all loan officers. And I tell you that because I want you to understand that I know how to build a business and how to do business planning. And I've done it many different ways. And I can tell you that as a woman, business is very different because we have a lot of other competing interests. Like for those of you who are wives, moms, there's just additional layers that make things more complicated, and you can still crush numbers, you can still be a record holder, but it requires a lot more planning. And in my experience, as an entrepreneur, as a loan officer, a professional in real estate, I've noticed that I go between really drifting, and my best place is being directed. And most of us can be pretty fired up about a goal, primarily because there's some urgency there. Maybe there's a financial reason, maybe there's, a personal significance reason. And we can, or maybe we're just inspired, right? We hear a really great idea and we want to challenge ourselves. But being driven lasts for a very short period of time. I would definitely say 2 weeks at max. And a lot of people, can grit themselves into having results, but it is really challenging to have long-standing results, work-life balance, happiness, if you're just go, 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 go. The other thing is, once you've moved from driven, I've noticed a lot of people go into a pattern of drifting, right? This is our burnout. And burnout typically happens when you start doing a lot of activities that you don't feel passionate about or you're not seeing any results. And so I try to break down business planning and business goal setting down into themes that are the most priority for my entire life in sprints. So what I'm going to do first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. And I don't take on more than I can chew. So I try to take on one prospecting item, one marketing item, and continue with my daily routine. So that way I'm adding small increments over time and I'm not making huge dramatic changes to my business. And I promise you, over the course of time, getting really, really dialed in on a couple things will have way more movement to your business than trying to do 10 things mediocrely. Okay. So I developed word of the year because for me, I found that there wasn't really any comprehensive business planning that incorporated a full life. And I heard this concept of word of the year from Jesse Itzler, who talked about his theme years and how he would make decisions based on whether or not, the activity or the club or the friend or whatever he was going to incorporate new into his life, how it met with that theme of the year. And it was a really powerful kind of concept. And I've heard people have like word of the year intentions before, but I'd never heard anyone who actually lived by it and had used it in business. And so I listened to his speech, I broke it down, and I actually did have Chat GPT help me once I could figure out a framework. So I took traditional business planning and broke it down into a theme. So this is what I'm going to share with you guys. So I'm going to share my screen. All right, let me know if everyone got it. Is everyone good? Can I get a thumbs up if you can see it? Okay. So it isn't just identifying, exact business tactical things, and we will do that, but it's really just understanding what's most important to you to move the needle in all aspects of your life. And you aren't going to change your word of the year all the time. In fact, the same word of the year that I selected at the beginning of 2024 is still the word that I'm focusing on in 2025. The word I chose was thrive, and primarily because thrive to me means winning in all categories. And in order to be able to do that, you have to set a foundation first of improvement in all areas. And in order to really feel like you're thriving, it's going to take a while. And so basically from here, the process is pretty simple. It's 3 steps. It's basically doing a real self-evaluation of where your current state is in all aspects of your life, and then identifying really what the root problem is or the roadblocks that are holding you back, and then setting specific intentions with resources and accountability in a calendar. Okay. So oftentimes, lots of people, you've gone to the seminar, you just heard about a bunch of social media stuff. How are you going to implement this? What resources, what roadblocks are currently getting in the way right now of you having, not done that already, and how you're going to reincorporate that into your life now. So this is a wheel of life. Have you guys seen this? This is a pretty common thing that are done in a lot of business seminars. It's basically how you evaluate your life in all the different categories. So for me, I kind of expanded on this because there are things that are really important to me that I found that weren't on the wheel of life that you can find online. But personal growth to me is a core value, right? I always want to be growing, learning. So I incorporated that. And then, I incorporated spirituality. So on a scale of 1 to 10, you are going to rank your life, 10 being the best, 1 being needs a significant amount of improvement, where you rank every category in your life. Okay. And the idea is to get really honest and then to try to connect all the dots so you can see what the wheel of your life looks like. I remember when I first did this, my wheel looked a little like Cancer. I was very disproportionate in business and money, right? Because that's where I had focused the majority of my attention. My health was pretty poor. My relationships with friends and family was very poor. But I had a lot of things, career was great, money was great, personal development was great. And so when you're lopsided, when things are unequal in such a big degree, I find that it really does take away from the momentum you'll have in the areas that you're succeeding. It's only a matter of time. Okay, so this is the very first step. And I would recommend doing this with your spouse, with your kids, anyone who is really incorporated deeply into your life. I find that when I didn't do this with my partner in the past, we had competing goals and interests, right? Like their activities were maybe more important than activities that I had wanted to plan on it. Or maybe we had different values for what we wanted to do with our kids, or we had different expectations on how much each other was going to work or how much money we were going to save. So if you have somebody in your life, like a spouse or children that have really expensive activities or time consuming, you want to incorporate all of their goals into this too, right? So that everyone is on the same page. I do find that family and spouses are a big roadblock to goals that people really don't talk about, and then from there, I just get really honest about the pain points, right? And I list the pain points off. I select no more than 2 from each category, but I have to have at least 1, right? So you can't say that, if you're feeling really happy in your career or really happy in your love life and there isn't anything that you would change, we always want to get at least 1 improvement item, okay? Because you want every area of your life to be a focus. And then what you want to do is figure out from here, like what the theme is, right? So when I did this originally, the biggest thing that I noticed about my whole life is that I said yes to too many things. And I didn't know how to prioritize the importance of them, right? So everything sounds like a really great idea, but you can only incorporate so many things. So a constant theme that I could recognize in every single area was this issue with time management and a lack of clear priority. Okay. And then from there, I really wrote down, I journaled about how that lack of, priority and the time management, how it was actually impacting the areas of my life. So because I couldn't say no to work things, it was impacting my relationship with my kids. Because I was exhausted, I wasn't waking up in the morning to work out. Because I was not working out, I wasn't eating right and I felt tired and I was drinking a lot of coffee. And when you are depleted like that, I noticed I was being really snappy with my partner, right? There was a lot of things that I could attribute to the fact that I felt exhausted and maxed out in every area. And I felt like I was doing my best, but my best just wasn't enough with the time that I had, right? So it was just very clear how this was impacting my life. And then I started listing down like what I could actually do to improve these things. And the number one thing was actually doing this activity called priority pairing. So I went through and listed out every single thing that I felt was a priority in every area, and I started ranking them against each other. So it would be like, where does working out rank in, doing a call night? Or where does working out rank in, having a one-on-one date with my children? Or, and I literally started ranking everything that I thought was a 10 priority. And then I picked the 5 items, right, that actually won against each other. And so it was like, I quit a bunch of networking groups that I felt were priority, but they took time away from things that were actually priority to my life. I got rid of a coaching group that I was in. I was in a mastermind group that I loved to death, but it took a ton of time away and it just didn't rank high enough in priority to the other things that I was doing. So it was clear that I needed to reduce the amount of things I was saying yes to. The priority pairing made it very clear what was actually the priority. And so once I could figure out the things I was actually keeping in my life, I could create a routine. And so I started calendarizing my entire year. And if you haven't put everything into your calendar a year in advance, I will tell you this is a game changer. So you can put in every single thing for your kids up front. You can put in all of your vacations up front, when you plan on having your date nights with your spouse. You can plug in all of your Tom Ferry activities. You can plug in your prospecting. You can plug in when you're going to do your marketing. You can pretty much have a dialed in calendar a year in advance with priorities that meet your full life intention. Okay. And it comes from this activity. And so once I could figure out, okay, so for me, again, time management, saying yes to too many things, I listed out all of the resources that I needed. I realized that the theme for my life really is this balance and growth, right? Like I want to succeed on a high level. I want to do really awesome at a high level. I want to be present with my kids at a high level, right? And so that was the example phrase. And this is actually when I used Chat GPT to help me. So I plugged in the wheel of life, and you can upload all of these things. Chat GPT can read it. And I'm going to send out this workbook just so you know. So once you have it completed, you can upload it to Chat GPT. And I'm like, help me identify my theme. And then I want a phrase that, like, when I say it to myself, it means something so that I'm taking action, right? And it's like balance over burnout, and then narrowing it down to one word, right? And so in this case, that would be harmony, right? For me, I'm just a more aggressive person than the word harmony. I didn't feel like I connected with it just in general. And I said, okay, so if I was a more aggressive, competitive person that wanted to win in all areas, what would this be? And so my phrase became, thrive means to win in every category, right? That's something that is very, like, I can get behind it. It's all about, succeeding. It meets my competitive nature, right? And then the word I chose was thrive. So when I tell myself, hey, the goal this year is to thrive, right? I can't thrive if I say yes to that. I can't thrive if I'm going to change course. I can't thrive if I'm going to, overcommit and be exhausted, right? That's how that word of the year actually changes the full year intention of your life. So this is how you get it done. Now, once you understand what the theme is, you have to set at least 2 goals for every area of your life that you put into priority on your calendar. So this is health, time with friends, your love life, your fun, right? Which for me is like personal development, spirituality, and your career. It can't just be career. Like if we focus on career, this is what happens to most women, is that we give it all at work, and then whatever left goes to our family. And then if there's anything left in the gas tank, it goes to us maybe. Right. And like, we're talking about like basic life things like sleep, eat, shower. Okay. If you feel like this, it's because we haven't prioritized ourselves. And one of the biggest things that really changed this for me is that our kids, they learn how to be adults through watching us. And the last thing I want my kids to grow up and think is that life is only about slaving away at work, making a bunch of money, going on a couple vacations, and then feeling like death the rest of the time. And the reason that we get stuck in these patterns has a lot to do with, like, I don't know, childhood trauma, but it's really like getting to the root of why you do it. For many of us, it's significance, right? And so really understanding that the root of our problems, like with time balance and management, saying yes to too many things, has more to do with the fact that, like, we feel like if we say no, it's going to ruin a relationship, we're going to lose a deal. And then what happens if you did? Like, what happens if you did lose a deal? What happens if you do? Like, where can you make up for this and other things? And changing from that scarcity mindset to a more abundant mindset, knowing that when you feel fulfilled and you show up with great energy and you have a good priority for prospecting and marketing, that other business will come. It makes the business that you're in go from drifting to one that is actually directed. Like, every single business is going to have attrition. Every single business is going to lose clients. Every business has mistakes. Every business has all types of things that we are very, very concerned about. But if we look at it from a holistic point of view and understand that as a business owner, you just have to have systems for figuring that out. Like, I have a good I'm sorry program. I have a good follow-up program now that lasts longer than 90 days, right? Because of attrition. If I just see it as, hey, this is part of the natural flow of business and not something about me as the human being, right? We are not robots. It makes it a whole lot easier, right? To say no to things, right? To not work yourself until 10, 12. I mean, I have been guilty of working till 2 a.m. checking email and trying to set up things for the next day that I wanted to be super successful on. So at the end, right, you need to figure out what this truly means to you, right? So this is like what I was saying, like, what problem are you truly solving for yourself? And there is an activity that I do, and this is like, you know, when I did the Chat GPT thing and it said harmony was the thing. It's like, yes, I understand that those are my biggest priorities, but if it's not aligned with you, you're not going to follow it. And so it's asking yourself 3 to 5 why questions about this, right? So, you know, I understand time balance has a lot of different benefits to my life, but why is this so important to me? Okay, because I want to feel energized, because I want to feel good with my kids. Okay, well, why is that important to you? Okay, and it's like, well, I want to be a great mom. I want to be a great role model for them. I want to earn a big income. Why? And it ultimately, like for me, it always became that I grew up as a poor kid who wanted to make more for myself. And making more for myself means that I'll be able to provide better opportunities for my kids that I love so much. But ultimately, the real why there is because I'm scared of being broke, right? I'm scared of what that was like back when we were poor. And so just understanding what that means to me and creating a theme and a phrase that will get me out of bed in the morning is super important. And if you're not aligned on those things, this activity will not work for you. So last thing I will share is that every single plan or intention, business-wise, personal life-wise, will always come with its roadblocks, and being very, very honest about what those roadblocks are is going to help you be more successful. Okay, so one big roadblock is just you have other things that are important to you outside of work, period. Acknowledge them, prioritize them. 2 is that some people have financial resource issues, right? So some of these things cost money. Okay. Other things. So is there a trade that you can do? Is there something similar to the thing that you think is the most important that you can incorporate? Are there areas in your budget that you can reduce so that you can afford these things? Right? There are going to be roadblocks that you are currently already aware of, and you have to have a plan for how to meet those things. Otherwise, none of these things actually get executed. Okay, so I'm going to share this with you. This is how everyone understands like the SMART goal setting, right? So I included that in here, and then I included what a planner looks like. So that way you guys know how to do this on a day-to-day basis. And then also setting up a timeline for sprints. So once you've identified the items, again, like I said, you're going to priority pair them. You're going to pick 2 or 3 items to add to each quarter for when you're going to get them done. And I would put this timeline in a place where you can see it all the time. So mine is in my bathroom mirror. I literally posted a whole bunch of pictures that are applicable to the time period that I am working on. So I would have this so it's a constant daily reminder of what you are trying to accomplish. And then again, identifying your network of people that are going to help support you, how much money it's going to cost you, what skills you need to implement this. And then again, like support in terms of software, like your calendar, Chat GPT, reminders, an accountability partner. Like, how are you going to support yourself? So this is a resource list. Okay. And so I will get this to Karina so that she can get this emailed out to you. Let's see, do you guys have any questions on that? Was that different than the other type of word of year activities that you guys have seen? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the workbook's going to be emailed to you. Are any questions that I can go over? Okay. Awesome.
Does anyone have any, I know we're kind of out of time, but does anyone have any other best practices for their business planning that they want to share really quickly? All right, guys. Well, I'm going to email out the recording from today's call and all of the resources, and I'm going to be posting the events for our elite retreat in the Facebook group very soon. So look out for that. And thank you guys all for joining today. Good to see everybody. Bye.